So, good morning. Today is a brand new day for us. The first day of the week. It's a Sunday, and here we are again in our G20 lessons. I hope you are chill enough, listening to cool music at the same time, learning. I hope you're not distracted with the music. It's there to provide us company and set the mood for better learning. So, today this is just an additional lesson on the elements of arts. It's about understanding the different color schemes so that when we come to the point of analyzing pictures, we'll be able to understand why the artist, or even in photography or in movies or whatever it is that it relates to visual reading. In terms of color, you'll be able to understand why these creators decided to use the types of colors or even the material that they have and the combination of colors in their works. So it's just a basic review actually of the lessons we have in GE7, which is humanities. So, what are the color schemes and how they work together? So, let me move it a little there. Okay, so when we talk about color schemes, now while some artists and designers use color intuitively, many rely on knowledge of color harmonies based on the color wheel. You remember the color wheel that I've shown to you in the previous lecture? So you can create certain harmonies in there. So color schemes help to give a design and an underlying harmony and structure, as well as even the mood. So we are affected by colors as human beings. So artists capitalize on that as well. Okay, so we have different types of color schemes. Okay, so we have what we call the monochromatic, analogous, or the warm and cool scheme. So what are these? So we say monochromatic, it uses a single hue, but relies on tints or tones. When we say tints, these are the effects of adding a white color on a particular hue. While you talk about tones, you're adding black color on the hue, or you say shades, you're adding gray in that sense. So these are things. That's why in your assignment you can play on these tints, tones, and shades by adding white, black, or gray on the effect of the color itself. So it also provides a strong sense of visual cohesion and can help support communication objectives through the use of connotative color, such as Picasso's blue period in his work. The monochromatic color scheme, if you are to look at that, are just one color with different tints and shades of that color. So we say tint, as I have said, adding white to color. Shade is adding black to the color, and value lights and darks of an object, and tone is adding gray to a color. Again, sometimes you can be confused with this, right? So shade is black, tone is gray to a color, and value is a matter of playing with a little light or dark on an object. So if you can look at the example here, so we have the tints adding white to the color, and on the right side you see the shades by adding black to the natural color they have in the middle. So when you say monochromatic, look at that. That is an example of a monochromatic scheme. They just have the darker side on the lower portion and the lighter side on the upper portion. So somehow by using a choice of colors on that, you are using a monochromatic scheme. You're not using any other colors in that end. On the other hand, when you say analogous colors are 3 or more colors that are next to each other on the color wheel, like the circles in the picture in the next slide. So using this type of color scheme makes the composition look harmonious, but the actual feeling conveyed will depend on the colors. So on the colors you choose, based mostly on their temperature. It's either warm colors or the cold colors. So look at this color wheel. So when you say analogous colors are at least 3 colors that sit side by side in the color wheel and have one common hue. So for example, we have yellow, orange, and red. So they are analogous. So an analogous color cannot have 2 primary colors in its scheme because the primary colors have nothing in common. So the color scheme creates a sense of harmony, and it's similar in appearance because colors have common yellow hue. So they are somehow related to each other. So this is another example of red analogous scheme. So as you notice here, there is only one primary color involved, just one. So we have red, orange, yellow, and the rest, so green. So from family of the red, family of the yellow, and family of the blue color schemes. Okay, another example. These are actual works of artists. So for example, we have Brit Brass. He uses analogous schemes in their work, as well as Erin McIntosh. Okay, so the warm and color scheme, which I have already discussed in the last lecture. So we say warm colors are related with the fire, right? So we have yellow, orange, red, orange, even red, violet. So these are colors that advance towards you. While on the other hand, when you talk about cool colors, they range from yellow, green, so which reminds you of the leaves of the trees. Blue green reminds you of the ocean or the sky, or the blue violet, so something reminds you of afternoon or the dusk. So these are colors that recede or somehow they go into the picture. So look at that. So this is on the left side, you see an example of warm colors. Reminds you of the sun, fire. And on the other hand, the blue or the cool colors are used to show the cool colors, the mood, the dark mood in that sense. So somehow these colors affect the way you look at things, even affect the way your mood as well. So if you want to be always on the happy mood, you might as well use uh, warm colors like what we have in our house. I'll give you a short tour of our living room. So all you see here are orange, not only in this part but also in the kitchen, uh, even in the CR. We always, because the owner of the house loves orange. Okay, so this is not actually our own house, but we are very fortunate to have lived here. Blessed, the word, the right word. Okay, moving on. So these are ways of using color. You can use color to represent something, so we call it representational use of color. So colors are also used by impressionists to portray their different types of emotions. It could also be used for decorative or ornamental use. Play on combinations of colors to provide beauty, for example in fashion, that way, or even the tiles that we have. Okay, even our floor is orange. Okay, then we also have you can use color for personal use or for your own personal purposes. I remember a friend who uses different colors to underline verses in the Bible to make it easier for her to find verses. For example, when she wants to look for verses that talks about the death of Christ or the blood of Jesus Christ, she would use red ball pen to underline the verses. And when we talk about hope or hope or heaven, she would use blue. To talk about growth in your Christianity, she would use green. To talk about death and hell, she would use black. So somehow it works on her part. Okay, so colors are also used for scientific purposes. So to represent chemicals or processes, and also for symbolic use. And you use it to symbolize something. So there are many ways of representing colors. Representational, for example, we have traffic lights. So red is always means stop wherever you go in the world, and green always represents go. Okay, so here we have examples. Color constancy in the local color of the object. So in fine art realism, this refers to the color the brain perceives an object to be. So this is an example of representational use. It really represents a house. So when you say realism, they draw or paint something that is representing the real object outside. Okay, impressionist use of color. They show sensitive perception of the effects of changing conditions of light on the object. So colors look vibrant. Optical mixing of colors occur in the eyes of the viewer. So grays and dark tones are produced by mixing complementary colors, and it avoids using black points. So that's how impressionists use colors. That's why it's a bit vibrant by using usually light colors. They doesn't really represent the colors doesn't really represent 100% what's in nature, so they are not realist. So that's why they call them impressionists. So moving on. You can look at that example by try some. So it's an oil on canvas. So artists use the colors of purples, yellow, and other colors to suggest colored shadows and to reflect light. So in this painting that has shadow that this painting has shadow that are made from a range of dark green to blue, like beneath the tree at the edges of a border. So you can look at that. You can see a little blue there to represent the shadows. But in real life, you don't see a shadow that's colored blue, right? So, but Impressionists can do whatever they want to represent something. So you don't judge Impressionist works based on a realist point of view. That's just crazy. So you have to discuss that one day as well. So another example here is Summer. It's an oil on canvas, a gift of Mr. and Mrs. Robert H. Grable. Color employed are directly from the tube without mixing. So that means it's like they're using colors as they are from the tube, so they don't mix colors. So they use bright purples, greens, and yellows to convey the intense light and color of the heat of the afternoon. So you can tell on the first glance the work of an Impressionist. This is one thing they have in common. So it makes them distinguishable because of the style and the use of colors in itself. Then we have decorative or ornamental use of colors. What we have here, for example, it plays with the patterns and designs. The colors are used to enhance rhythm and sensuous appeal. Look at the use of the pattern in the curtain. So it's an example of Odalisque painting of Matisse, of an oriental richness of color and design, showing influence of Middle Eastern carpets because they play on patterns. And we talk about personal use of color. Artists use hues, the same pronunciation, to express their subjective feelings and emotions. So this is expressionism is the term coined for that. So it is a term that embraces an early 20th century style of art, music, and literature that is charged with an emotional and spiritual vision of the world. So this is how I express myself. So they use colors for their own personal use. Like, look at that. So it is really far from reality, the use of colors here, but this is an example of Expressionism. Another use of color is the scientific use. So Victor Vasarely and Joseph Albers have investigated color perception. So meaning our perception of colors is affected by the colors around them. So this is really funny because when you look at more videos of this in YouTube, you'll be surprised yourself. So for example, here is a Joseph Albers series, Homage to the Square. So he demonstrated the relativity and instability of color and tone through their interactions. For example, here you look at the first box on the upper left. In the middle you have two same colors, blue color, right? But the blue, when sitting side by side with green, looks different when it's sitting side by side with a darker color. So that's the main point. What do we have here for examples? Yellow as well. Okay. I think the one with the blue, this one. Okay. This one and that one are of the same color, but because of the different background here, we look at them differently. So that's why the artist can somehow play around with the way colors interact with each other. Our eyes are easily deceived by the combination of colors around us. Okay, moving on. The symbolic use of colors, meaning of color changes depending on the cultural tradition. So you may follow religious or liturgical color for mourning, used during Lent, and heraldic conventions, as in the colors of the flag. So it reminds me of a funny movie. You remember the movie PK? PK is an alien from another planet, and as he was exposed to our culture here, he was confused. For example, he went on, I think it was a wedding. A wedding that, of course, as a wedding, usually you see couples wearing white, and in some cultures they use white for mourning, and in some cultures they are also wed using black colors. So it is quite confusing for him. So, and many other things, like when we mourn, we attend what they call this, an interment, a relative or friend. You're not supposed to wear red, so you have to use either black or even white is acceptable. Okay, so in the Western color symbolism, when you use green, it represents hope, positivity. But sometimes it could be used for negatively to show envy. That's why we have the expression, "He was green with envy." Okay, on the other hand, we have red, which represents love, have a positive connotation. But somehow, red could also have a negative connotation of danger. On the other hand, blue could represent loyalty. It also could represent melancholy. So that's why we have the song "Bluer Than Blue, Sadder Than Sad." It's because when you're feeling blue, so that's melancholy. Okay, then we have colors that indicate social status, like in the Muslims, if you have yellow, Maranaos regard yellows as colors of nobility. On the other hand, the Tibulis regard red as an important color, as they believe that valiant warrior or Bagani represents red. Then we have characteristic of colors. So colors differ in intensity and vividness. Another one, color is changed by the presence of other colors. So as I have said, so probably I can upload some videos here of how colors interact with other colors. So colors also have definite psychological and emotional connotations. This is very important for us to understand, because you'll be looking at the works of others, and you have to educate yourself on how the artist used colors to represent certain psychological or emotional connotations. I remember the work of Juan Luna, the Spolarium. It's very dark He uses dark colors and even red to represent the oppression that Spain has on the Philippines. And he used the analogy of a warrior in a stadium, in a coliseum, being dragged after they were killed by fellow warriors. Okay, so we have examples here of representations of color. Black could represent death, white could represent innocence or purity. That's the way we behave in terms of giving flowers to somebody. When you give a white flower, not the liniment, of course, the actual white flower to somebody, it represents the purity of your intentions. Then blue would represent heaven, truth, or even virginity. I thought virginity was white. It's blue. Red, on the other hand, could always represent blood, even love, or even hate. So this is very intriguing because these were opposite meanings of the same color. So that's why when you use emoticons with a red head, that represents anger already or hate. Okay, but if you draw a red on a heart with a heart shape, of course that is always understood as love. And then yellow, on the other hand, could represent divinity, sacredness. Even on the other hand, it could represent degradation, treason, or deceit. So there's always that positive or negative connotation of colors, which is really quite making the task of understanding the meanings of certain work more difficult. So, and finally we have the brown, which represents spiritual death, renunciation of the world, representing the soil or earth. Then we have these neutral colors. So we have the black, the white, gray, and the brown colors. So we call them neutral colors because they are not associated with a hue. So neutral colors, when mixed with a hue, they change the value or the intensity of the color. The neutral colors are, as I have said, black, white, gray, and some browns. So meaning that's not every brown is a neutral color. Okay, so white plus a certain color would represent the tints of the color. As I have said, for example, when mixing paint, you buy white paint for like 1 gallon, and you just buy a short can, a small can of tinting color, because tinting colors are just mixed with the white to produce a certain tint of that color. So white plus a little red would result in a pink. So depending on the amount of red that you would add to the white, so that adds to the intensity of the color. If you add more, then with the black plus another color, it results to a shades of the color. So when say black and you add black to a red, that results to maroon or burgundy. When you add gray, which gray actually is a combination of white and black, so that results to gray. If you add that to a particular color, it makes the color less intense. And we have the cool colors. These are colors that are usually associated with cool things, as I have discussed this already, so we can move on. So these are warm colors, and I think that's okay. Let me stop sharing. Mas klaro akong upaw. Okay, so um, later tonight, probably I will go to the SIM or the SIM that we have so we can review and discuss the lessons for including for the coverage of the exam. Anyway, our exam is not really a multiple choice, it's just an essay type. So I will just send the exam to those who had submitted their permits already. Okay, so make sure that you at least check the your account every day, at least once a day, to check if there's something new that is being uploaded. So all the videos that we have for the first exam is included in the first exam discussions. I'm still figuring out how you can respond or show that you have seen the video already. So I'm I'm still finding my way through the LMS, and thus uh, I have been learning a lot of things for the past week. But now on, I'll try to be as in touch, as accessible to each and every one. Now we have our group chat, so I hope you will feel free to ask and comment on a particular lesson. So here with this lesson, probably what I want you to do is I will put this as an assignment. So all you have to do is just comment uh, the thing. Let me see. Okay, I want you to comment on the difference between tint, value, intensity, and tone. Okay, tint, tone, value, intensity, and shade. Differentiate each one of them. So if you have watched this video, you'll be able to uh, answer that as an assignment. Okay, so just send it to me through mail. So that's how I want to. That's how I could know that you have watched the video. Okay, so you can also subscribe to this channel in YouTube so that and press the notification bell so you would know if a new video has come up for these lessons. Okay, so I want the class to be a bit more interactive as well in terms of using the group chat. So feel free. How I wish I could hear you speak. Let me know if you are open to the idea of reporting so that we can have some kind of a recitation and we get to know you as well. You'll have a chance to be heard in class. Just a maximum of 15 minutes reporting. You can add PowerPoint presentations. You can do like what I did. You open Zoom, then share slides. So you can use your PowerPoint while lecturing. And if you like the idea of having bossa or jazz music in the background, like what we do, feel free to do so. And let me know if you like what I'm doing in terms of including a little music here. If you don't like, no problem, you can take it off if it bothers you or distracts you from listening. So let me know. Okay, you can comment or we'll have an open forum for this particular discussion. So see you later tonight or even tomorrow. So feel free. We don't have a fixed time to meet, but always make it a point to open your LMS at least once a day. Okay, God bless and see you.